The Genesis GV80 is one of our favorite midsize luxury SUVs, and it's the only one out there that looks better than a Bentley Bentayga for a fraction of the price. For 2025, it has a mid-cycle refresh, really not much happening on the outside, but on the inside, a dramatically new dash. All the great materials remain, there's new technology, so let's go take this for a nice drive. The GV80 was brand new for the 2021 model year. It gets the mildest exterior refresh for 2025. The big difference is on the inside. The GV80 gets minor exterior revamps, like the front grille. It was already really bright and chrome, but now there's like this double lattice work on every single diamond pattern that you're seeing on there. There's also 4 cutouts on that lower chin spoiler, that lower bumper, that was not there before either. The headlights, there's more LED elements. They're even brighter. And Genesis' signature design elements, those double bars which extend to the side and the rear taillights, those remain. Beautiful, always look good. This is the 3.5T Prestige, so you're getting the bigger 22-inch wheels. Those are also new for 2025. And what's also new, a larger strip of chrome running along the side. It's very bright from some angles. And if you're looking at this car overall, it looks so good. It's handsome, the proportions are perfect, it's not too boxy, it's not too smooth. And if you want the body to be even smoother, watch my review of the GV80 Coupe. That is a brand new model for 2025, and it looks even more aggressive than this one. The exhaust tips on the back of the GV80 are now hidden. Even though they have that kind of home plate design on the chrome and that lower bumper, they're not there, they're below the bumper. And that lower bumper also has a different shape around the license plate. Otherwise, it's the same great looking SUV, any way you look at it. The GV80 remains the same 2-row SUV. If you want the 3rd row, you can find it only on one trim, the 3.5T Advanced. This is the Prestige. I'd recommend it over any of the trims because it's fully loaded. It's awesome. And what's also awesome? Those turn signals. So big, so unique, and you cannot miss this thing making a lane change. That is for certain. The base engine is a 2.5-liter turbo 4 with 300 horsepower. I would recommend the 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6. This is a much bigger SUV and you're gonna want the power, trust me, 375 horsepower. If you get the GV80 Coupe, it adds an electric supercharger with over 400 horsepower. The SUV has an 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive as standard. As such, towing capacity is good. With either the 4 or the 6, it's 6,000 pounds. Fuel efficiency is not good. Check out the numbers. Any way you look at it, this is a vehicle that likes to drink, but it does deliver very good performance. There's newer features on the 25 GV80. Center armrests are heated. The steering wheel is also brand new, the entire dash. Everything you're looking at straight from the driver's seat is new, but what's not? The comfort and all the quality inside this car. The GV80 now has a completely different dash. A 27-inch OLED screen now spans the entire dash, and there's more buttons and physical switches than before. You'll also notice that the cup holders in the center console are now exposed, and the steering wheel looks a whole lot better. There's more colors available as well, including this matte finish wood trim that to me feels a bit like wallpaper. Nice wallpaper, mind you, and there's lots of options in this car. Plenty of different colors. It is a gorgeous looking interior. When you order the Prestige, you get a massaging 16-way driver's seat. There's no such features for the passenger seat, but both are in quilted Napa leather, so who's really going to be complaining? The back of the GV80, well, there's no other SUV at this price that does what it does. By that, I mean power folding seats, power fore and aft seats, power reclining seats, mirrors, panoramic moonroof, heated and cooled seats, power shades, and a ton of space. Really amazing. Cargo space is just over 36 cubic feet, and with the 2nd row that power folds on this model, just under 72 cubic feet. If you get the 3.5T Advanced with that optional 3rd row, well, it has just under 12 cubic feet, so the GV80 really isn't a true 3-row SUV. For a 2-row, there's plenty of space. The engine to have in the GV80 is the 6-cylinder. The 4, it'll move, but with this much weight and this kind of luxury, you really need to upgrade to the 6. It's worth it. Unlike the new GV80 Coupe, which I also just reviewed, the GV80 SUV does not have the electric supercharger that does boost power, torque, and MPGs. Not by too much, but it's a nice option and it's not yet available on the SUV. Maybe it'll be coming soon. When the GV80 first came out, I felt some of the transmission programming was a bit slow. Not so much anymore. Even in comfort mode, responds really well, to the point where you don't have to use the steering wheel paddles. It's nice that they're there, but they're not necessary. The ride and the road holding, that's what makes this car very impressive. The steering track's really true. You don't have to really do anything but just relax. And there's massage modes on these seats. Well, just the driver's seat, not the passenger seat. But in any seat, they're all extremely comfortable. They're all heated and cooled on this trim. It just feels good when you're behind the wheel. All of the colors, the textures, everything that looks nice when it's standing still, when you're getting inside this car, when it's parked, it makes you feel just as special when you're driving it. Genesis has adaptive dampers. There's no air suspension. There's no other trickery going on with electronics or a mild hybrid setup. So what you're left with is actually a very good suspension. It's still relatively soft. The GV80 Coupe definitely is a little stiffer, and there's no Sport Plus driving mode on this SUV that is available on the Coupe, so it doesn't shift quite as hard, and it will roll just a little bit more in corners. But body control is still really good. It's not altogether sporty, but it's definitely not distance from the driver either. I would say that Genesis has given a nice balance between giving you all the feels, all the tingles from the steering, the sensation from the engine that you would get in a performance SUV, but not really going in that direction. And also not going too far in the other direction of complete isolation. It's very quiet. It's insulated so well in here, but it doesn't drive with the aloofness that a Lexus has, right? It also isn't as sharp handling as an Acura, like the MDX. It's a nice balance between the two. And I've definitely noticed the difference driving the 2025 GV80 versus the first one from several years ago. That one just felt like it floated a lot more. And then at the same time, it crashed over bumps with those 22-inch wheels. But now, years later, the refinements they've made have paid off. It's definitely just a better SUV, even though it looks basically the same on the outside. If you're driving it, it's much improved. That was always the sore spot for Genesis, as it was for Hyundai, just chassis tuning, getting the right setup from the start. And they really struggled for many, many years. Hyundai, decades. The Genesis has learned really quickly. And if you benchmark the GV80 against any of the other German luxury SUVs in particular, you'll find a lot of similarities. The BMW and Mercedes tend to be sharper, especially on their higher performance trims. But if you're going trim for trim on the regular models that cost this much money, I gotta say, you're gonna be happy with this car. I know I am. And now that they've increased the price by a lot, it's not an insignificant amount. I think the money went to all the right places. The brake pedal feel, just a tad soft on the first bite, feels strong. I think it's gonna be really easy to modulate, and this is a luxury SUV, and you don't want anything upsetting your ride. The GV80 blends the instrument panel and the infotainment into one seamless display. It's really among the best displays out there right now. It's curved and it doesn't take over too much of the dash. Interesting features, you can adjust all of the seats from here, including the rear seats. That's really nice. Plus, there's features like a mood curator. This is a bit cheesy. It's borrowed from Mercedes-Benz. It'll play certain sounds, change the lighting, even have perfume pumping throughout the climate control system. That's kind of crazy. And all the climate controls below here, it's now a touchscreen. This is all haptic feedback. And Genesis has now added volume knobs and tuning knobs right where they used to be, plus all these shortcut buttons that were not there before. So it's actually easier to use than it was before. You can also change a lot of the display right from the steering wheel. For example, If you don't like the tachometer, you don't have to have it. And you can go down here, switch map views, you can swipe here with a thumb pad here. All different ways to interact with the display. You have to get used to how it works, but once you do, the clarity is excellent. And if you switch driving modes, it changes some of the graphics. Not quite as crazy as what you'll see in other vehicles, but for functionality, the Genesis really has a good system. The 2025 Genesis GV80 starts at $57,700. There are 6 trims, and we tested the fully loaded 3.5T Prestige. With destination and extra charge paint, $81,300. That's a lot more than the first time we tested the 2021 GV80. That one stickered at just over $72,000. But prices are going up, and it actually is priced very competitively with the BMW X5, Mercedes GLE, Audi Q7, Acura MDX, Infiniti QX60, and the Lincoln Nautilus. The Genesis GV80 now costs a whole lot more than it did a few years ago, but it's truly worth it. For the money, you're getting a fully loaded SUV with the performance, the style, and really the look and feel inside and out. And the technology works pretty darn well too. The only bad thing is that it's really not that sporty to drive. But dollar for dollar against any vehicle in the class, this one truly is among the very top. What do you think? Go see our review online, go to CarGurus.com, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.